Vivek Ramaswamy, I think that's how you pronounce it, or Vivek Ramaswamy, Swami. I'm just gonna say Vivek or Vivek. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Brands Sean Hannity as fake news after spectacular train wreck interview as they fall out over Israel's response to Hamas terror atrocity. So the Republican presidential candidate Vivek labeled Sean fake news on Thursday night after their TV interview went off the rails. He has risen in the polls as he portrays himself as a pugnacious contender in the mold of former President Donald Trump, but he clashed with another pillar of the modern Republican Party over foreign policy, the Middle East, his fitness to govern in relations with his rival for the nomination. In particular, Hannity brought up comments he made recently accusing Republicans of selective moral outrage and suggesting that demands for action against Hamas after the attack on Israel were driven by financial and corrupting influences. It is not much of a leap to interpret those words in line with the long history of anti Semitic claims made by those on the left and the right that see powerful Jewish influence in everything from politics to the movie industry. Vivek took exception to Hannity's line of questions, saying he was falling into line with big money and the mainstream media. I'm enjoying this. You have been laughing about the fake news media how many times for the last several years, he said. And now you're buying the mainstream media narrative when you know how corrupt it is. This is a corrupt game. The super PAC puppets are a problem. Hannity hit back. Did I or did I not quote your exact words? Asked Hannity. About Azerbaijan and Armenia, he said. Absolutely about a different topic where people should actually get their own information rather than filtered through centralized media. And then their interview carried a subtext about the future of conservative broadcasting and power shifts within the Trump world. Vivek made his original comments in an interview with ousted Fox presenter Tucker Carlson. So this is, let's see. So Vivek says, I think people that never held public office like you, maybe they're not qualified to be president, at Sean Hannity. But I'm pretty certain Vivek never held public office either. So, would have disqualified. Oh, no. Oh, okay. I see what he's doing. He's quoting Sean Hannity. Okay. So, Vivek is quoting Sean Hannity where he said, I think people that never held public office like you, maybe they're not qualified to be president. And I guess Sean Hannity said that before. Okay. So this would have disqualified 2016 Donald Trump and would go on to become the greatest president of the 21st century. I'm the new outsider, and the establishment is flailing and will try to prop up their flavor of the month puppet. Last month, DeSantis, Nikki this month. If you strike the swamp strikes back. Okay. Vivek continues, we already have one family in the White House who sold off our foreign policy to make their family rich, and we don't need to swap them out for a Republican version of the same. At Nikki Haley profited obscenely from her time in government and repeatedly rewarded those who paid her. It is no mystery why the establishment is propping her up, and her super PAC puppet masters are now bidding for her services again. Her family income tripled in her first 5 years after her first election in 2004. Took hundreds of thousands of dollars in gifts while governor. Awarded multi-million dollar state contracts to companies who lent her access to private jets. Gave Boeing a $120 million incentive in SC only to join Boeing's board after leaving public service. Made $8 million plus in her post-UN life, including through her family's military contracting business, shamefully collecting corporate stock option grants from boards while running for president. We shouldn't tolerate a president who's made a fortune from exploiting public service. Not Biden, not Haley. I'm running against mostly good people in this race, but there's one notable exception to that rule. People of this country deserve to see it clearly. Yeah, see, the thing is, One of the things that I like about Vivek personally is that it's very similar to Trump in that they both have money or have made money not related to politics. The problem with so many other people is that they made a lot of money through politics, which to me just seems crazy, right? Like, yo, it's not a good sign if you have a politician that was basically making nothing before they were a politician, and then as a politician on paper, technically was only supposed to be making like 200K, 300K a year, where 5 years later, 6 years later, 8 years later, they're somehow worth like 30, 40, 50, 100 million. Like, there's obviously something very fishy about that, right? It's not like they all went into like Bitcoin and it just like blew up kind of stuff, right? Like that's the sad thing about politics is like it's so hard to find someone that is not financially benefiting from this type of situation. But the thing is, like every single one of them is financially betting from this somehow. So Vivek has made his name through competitive TV appearances and debate performances and positions himself clearly in Magaland. After the interview, he used X, formerly known as Twitter, to make his point. Da, 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 da. Let's see. Let's see some of these comments. Vivek was the train wreck when he denied saying things he has been documented as having said. That is an issue with Vivek, is that sadly for him, because he has done so many media tours, right? There are videos of him saying one thing and then a few months later saying something else. So, for example, like, let's just say, right, he has a video of him saying, I like Monster Energy, right? And then, like, 3 months, he says, like, you know, Monster Energy, I don't really like it. That type of thing, right? Now, it may not be on, like, necessarily, like, topics that are, like, that big of a deal, but it can bite him in the butt later on. Like, if he were to go onto, like, a presidential debate stage, not like the nominee stuff, but like just straight up. Let's say if you were going to go against Biden, they could easily just pull up these types of stuff and be like, hey, like, why are you flip flopping on these specific things? Right. So it's just something to think about too. Yeah. Okay. Feel free to give your thoughts on this. To me, I'm not really tied to necessarily who I would want to be president in terms of like who's running for the Republican Party or who's running for the Democrat one because that one's just super weird now because I think Yank Shank, I don't know how you pronounce his name. Igor, I think the guy from like Young Turks is now trying to run for president too. So like this whole thing is like basically like a crap show, pretty much. But I do think it's kind of like interesting. I thought this was an interesting thing to read out.